Hi everyone, this is episode 14 of the Road to National Master series. It is getting more and more unrealistic as the days go by. We are doing continuing our no engine recaps until the very end. So at the very end of this video, we have a game review section where we just go through the game with the game review. But for this regular analysis of the game, there is no engines. That clouds your thinking. It affects your evaluation. So hopefully you learn a thing or two from how I think about the game, and you have some takeaways, and I know I certainly have some of my own. Okay, my opponent plays e4. I've played this opponent. This is my fifth time playing Austin, and this time I played knight f6 for the first time ever in my life against e4 against Austin, and I wanted the game to be as interesting as possible because I play a lot against him, and I just want to change things up. But he goes for a very solid approach. He plays knight c3, and after I play d5, he just takes and takes again. And this position is relatively simple, and that's what his goal is. He just wants a very simple position. It feels weird to allow black to just have their queen in the center without being able to kick it out with a knight, but I think it's totally fine for white, probably. So he plays d4. And he could, if he wanted to, just play c4 and go for this like maximalist approach and just take as much space as he can. But instead, he just goes knight f3, and he never goes c4 in this game. Never. After I castle, he castles, and here I was actually thinking for a while, I really wanted to gain more space and play c5. But yeah, that looks really bad because c4... and my queen is under attack, so I have to move it, and now d5. And the c5 pawn, it would be great in this position if the c5 pawn was on c7, because then I could push c6, but instead it's already on c5, and this looks pretty good, although maybe it's okay for black. Like maybe you could just go e6, and maybe this pawn is super overextended. I don't know. That looks kind of weird, though. It's kind of weird to allow this. Anyways. So I didn't want to allow this. That just didn't look good to me. I didn't like the idea of it. So instead, I just played c6 instead. And that felt pretty natural way to develop. And I'm going to move my knight and or bishop out next. And like I said, he doesn't go c4. He just goes c3. And I think it's so my dark square bishop stares into a brick wall. And also, he often plays this solid setup in other openings, so I think he just likes this very solid. I think he would say it's a stylistic choice, as he would say. Okay. I developed my knight. I wasn't sure if I wanted to develop my bishop to g4 or f5. It felt not great. Like, if I play bishop f5, he could play knight h4, which might not be a good move, but it just felt weird to allow him to tickle my bishop. And like, if I have to move it again, why did I move it there in the first place? I mean, I guess his knight is on the edge of the board, so that's something worth noting. But I didn't feel like my bishop belonged anywhere. Like, I didn't feel like the bishop belonged in g4 or f5 or e6. So I was like, I'm just going to delay it. I'm going to move my knight first and then decide what to do with my bishop later. That was my thought process. He plays bishop f4, just developing. So very, very simple. We're both playing fairly simple chess here. And I play b5. Because he didn't go for the maximalist approach of playing c4, I guess I could just play b5 and play knight b6. And maybe even just go for a minority attack. So I have 3 pawns here. He has 4. So maybe I can use these pawns to just soften up his pawn structure. And who knows, maybe my bishop even comes alive despite staring into a brick wall. Brick wall. Not brick war. Brick wall. Despite my bishop staring into a brick wall, I think it could have life in the future, potentially. He plays queen d3. Connecting his rooks. I don't think there's anything deeper than that. And I play knight b6. Continuing development. And now my knight and the pawn work together on controlling these squares quite well. So Here he plays knight d2 and offers me a draw. Um, and it's funny in the sense that like he's offered me draws on move 12 in at many other occasions. The second time I've ever played him, I accepted the draw on move 12. But I usually don't accept them. But at the same time, I also have a -2 record against him because I have 2 draws and 2 losses. So and if all he needs is a draw to win the tournament. So a draw is very, very good for him. Despite him being slightly higher rated, doesn't really matter that much. I decline. I just want to play chess, and I just played a new opening. I gotta try it. I gotta try to win this. So I play bishop f5, and it feels like knight d2 was definitely a step in the wrong direction because your knight was pretty good on f3, I think, and now on d2 actually restricts the white queen's movement. And here, after I was thinking he might go queen f3 in this position, and I forgot what I thought about here. I think I might. I was planning something. I just can't remember what I was planning. I was planning something good. I mean, I was considering going knight c4 if a queen f3, but this doesn't look particularly great, but maybe it's fine because his pawn is hanging. Yeah, maybe this was my plan. I actually forgot what I was thinking. If queen f3. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Not 100% sure here. But he didn't go queen f3. He actually went queen e3. Like I said, there's something about it that I'm missing that I forgot about. But anyways, it doesn't matter. But now queen e3 allows me to hop in my knight to c4, attacking his knight and his queen. And if he takes my knight with his knight, well, actually, this position doesn't look that bad. And his queen, if he does take the pawn, now that's a blunder because now his queen has to move. Actually, I guess it could move here, and I can't take the bishop. Oh yeah, maybe that's good for him. Maybe he can get away with taking with the knight. Although it looks kind of dicey. But maybe it's okay actually. I did not see queen b7 after he takes the pawn. Oh wait, but if he goes queen e7 though, I can just go this rook. Ah, yes. Now if he goes queen b7, now I don't have a rook on a8 that would be hanging if I take the bishop. Okay, yes, this is winning. So he cannot take the e7 pawn. And with this move, because he can take with the bishop, I am straight up gambiting this pawn. I thought to myself, okay, he wins this pawn, and this happens in the game. I double my own pawns. I sacrifice a pawn, but now the point is I have activity. That was literally my thought process, and I was like, I don't know. I had some flashbacks to other times I've sacrificed pawns for activity. Episode 11 of Road to NM in particular, where I'm like activity, and like it doesn't pay off. But here, I think I have this is definitely a more safe sacrifice because, well, I hit something. Like if he goes in the game with queen c5, and here I have the bishop pair, but more than that, I have a lot more space. Well, firstly, this pawn is hanging. And it's a tough decision to make. I could take the queen, and now we have 4 c pawns. That's a lot of c pawns. Do you c pawn? Okay. And I can defend this pawn with like this. But I was like, do I really want to do this? I'm not really sure if I wanted to do this. But even though he's up a pawn, honestly, it doesn't look that good. Like the position still feels around equal. And I think I definitely have compensation for it with the two bishops and with my light square bishop being able to plant itself on d3. And if he ever gets his knight to e5, I can always snap it off and maybe even go into an opposite colored bishop ending, which is very, very drawish. So I feel like it wasn't that bad of a sacrifice at all, and it's probably just around equal. That's my guess. Maybe the computer will find a way to claim an advantage for white. Like I was honestly thinking he could go queen b7, and I can't go rook b8 because that would hang the rook. And it's actually this queen on b7 looks kind of annoying. I'm not sure why he ended up not doing this. There must have been something he didn't like about it. Not entirely sure. Maybe he just felt like his queen wasn't as active on b7 as opposed to c5. Or maybe he liked the fact that on c5 he can trade it. We can trade queens whenever he wants. And also, the queen on c5 attacks the c4 pawn along with the knight, so I have to defend it if I don't take the queen. And even if I do take the queen, I still have to defend it with bishop d3. So here goes rook f e1, and I go h6. I actually thought for a while on h6. I mean, we still have roughly around the same time here. I think we both have maybe 20 minutes-ish, maybe a bit more than 20 minutes. I'm not too sure. I did spend some time on h6, though, because I thought maybe I could push to g5 and just tickle the bishop and ask it where it wants to go. Like, for example, if we did a very lazy move, like, I don't know, a3, g5, and if he goes back to e3, well, f5 maybe. Like, and maybe I'm just going to throw the whole kitchen sink on his face. That was kind of my idea. That was one of my ideas behind h6. Also, h6 just gives my king extra room off the back rank, which I thought couldn't hurt. But more importantly, I was like, I'm going to throw everything at this guy. I'm going to throw everything. I actually thought h4 by him might be good. Like after h6, h4. And now I can't go g5 now. Because if I do, he trades queens and then takes. And I'm like, this isn't very good. So then I'd be down 2 pawns. So I think h4 would be a good response. But he doesn't even do that. He just trades queens immediately and goes bishop d6. And I'm like, okay, well now g5 doesn't do anything. g5 doesn't do anything. Okay. I think he offers a draw after bishop d6. And I'm like, no. A few more moves. a5. And then I lay a4. And I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll go. I could trade one pair of rooks and then go rook here and try to put my rook on this file. But then he can always go bishop b4 or even bishop a3. So I don't think he's ever concerned. But yeah, I push a5. He goes knight f3. I go a4. Maybe I didn't have to go a4. Maybe I could have just, I don't know, trading off like this maybe is an option. But if I attack the bishop, he could just attack my pawn. And if I go here, maybe I'm getting somewhere. Maybe I'm getting somewhere, but maybe not. Not really sure what I'm accomplishing here. So yeah, but I end up going a4 in the game. And he goes a3. And after I play bishop f3, bishop f6, I'm like, okay, fine. I'll accept the draw. And we drew. So that was my 5th game against Austin. And my first game I ever played with the Alekhine. And it was kind of interesting. The middle game, so the last 2 games, I just played openings I never played before. And it's very interesting from the perspective that, like, these middle games, I have no idea how to play. Definitely my intuition is not here, which makes sense. I don't play these openings. But it was actually very fun. But I am kind of sad that my opponents kind of killed the game. Maybe I'm blaming my opponents too much. Maybe I just need to get better at being more exciting and creating chances. I'm not really sure what I'm doing wrong, to be honest. but maybe with more experience and more time and more practice, maybe I'll get better with these types of positions. Well, that is the game. I'm gonna go to the game review and subscribe for more content like this, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.